Hi, I'm Lila of Nevillution, and today I'll be commenting on Neville Goddard's 1969 lecture, The First Principle. Now, in this lecture, Neville teaches to question everything. Don't just accept anything, even what Neville says. And the ultimate purpose of these questions is to find your ultimate truth. Are you really God? And although, to those who may not know Neville Goddard's work, this question might seem blasphemous, but let us move past these judgments of the mind and to see through just what might be the illusions of human life and what we call reality. So Neville tells you to relax, to be still and ask yourself, addressing yourself as though you and God were two. Ask yourself, are you really God? And if you are God and can do all things, prove it to me by giving me my desire so I can feel its presence now. And what is it that you desire? See if he will prove himself in performance, and when he does, do it again. Keep on asking, and when he proves himself here on this level, then let these things which cannot be put to the test come through, for they will. Often when we read Neville's words, he is teaching us to use our imagination to create our reality. So this is kind of unique to hear him say, simply address yourself as God. So we can try this and see what happens. We have nothing to lose. So whatever it is we have decided and want to put to the test, let us ask this God version of us right now. If you are God and you can do all things, prove it to me by giving me my desire so I can feel its presence now. Now Neville goes on to tell of an experience he had while he was in the deep. Probably what many may feel is the relaxed, trance-like meditation. And he correctly saw the outcome of a horse race beyond a shadow of a doubt. Neville says, I tell you, although it is hard to believe, we are living in a fabulous world of shadows. This past Thursday morning, as I was returning to the surface, I saw the finish of the Triple Crown race at Belmont in detail. Now this was Thursday, and the race was not to be run until Saturday. But I saw the finish so clearly that if I had $1 million, I would not have hesitated to bet it all on the one I knew to be the winner. In fact, I knew the race could not be reversed. It was fixed and finished. Then I asked myself, what is this world? Is it not a school of educated darkness? And now in these next words of Neville, he talks about what is the point of life? Are we here to change something, to do something? Is it truly something more on a mystical, spiritual level? Neville says, man thinks that in some strange way he is going to improve the world, but it is a schoolroom and will remain just that. The kingdom of heaven is not interested in improving this world. It is only interested in taking people out of this world by drawing them into itself, which is an entirely different world. But we can change the events in this schoolroom through the act of revision. And going back to Neville's horse race vision, he says, I had no desire to revise that race. I could have, and that which was completely finished in detail would have been changed. For many who take the world as the only reality, these words might seem strange. But if the world truly is, like many mystics say, not that much different than the night dream, but just a little bit longer, so it feels more real. Whatever happens in your night dream when you go to bed at night and dream, do you care to change what happened there? And when we learn who we truly are and the great spiritual reality beyond this limited earth reality, then we understand what Neville's teaching, why we're not here to sit there and change the dream of life, but instead to know the self. But while we're here having this experience, Neville does teach revision. If you do want to change something, you can. Neville goes on, tomorrow morning, as you come to the surface mind, observe and record what you are seeing, for you are observing that which will take place tomorrow or next week in this world of shadows. And if you don't like what you see, change it. Don't do as you normally do by jumping out of bed, washing your face, and once again find yourself locked in this world of shadows. Take a moment and observe the future. So the night dreams, when we go to bed and dream, these things can often tell us the coming attractions if we continue the way we are. Now, as Neville has taught us before, not all dreams are literal. Sometimes they're often symbolic, but there's always some jet stream of truth, or perhaps even an overall emotion. For instance, If someone is watching all kinds of crazy TV shows, dark news, all day, each day, the person can hardly be surprised if these things make themselves into the night dream. But it should be a warning, because then that can start to show up as experiences in one's own reality. Maybe it starts in distant news of someone in another country, and you see it on the news. Maybe it even comes closer, where you hear the experience of a friend's friend, or it hits closer to home, and you start to experience these things. So take note of your night dreams, and revise if you need to. If you're having fear and anger, or frustration, or feeling lost, you must learn the art to catch the feeling of what you'd rather feel instead. How would it feel to feel courageous? How would it feel to have peace? How would it feel to lock in grace? And be careful what you're feeding yourself day and night. Days become weeks, become months, become years, becomes a life. Feed your mind good things and reap good things. So as Neville is teaching you here, make use of your mornings. Don't jump right out of bed. If you remember your night dreams, reflect on them. What are they showing you? Neville goes on to say, I am telling you what I know from experience. It is true. One day you will discover that you are the life of the world, that everything you think of as permanent and independent of your perception is within you. You will know that the world reflects your thoughts. It is a shadow, and you are its life. You will realize that its activity is not out there, but in you, and you will stop it and start it again, all within yourself. So when you hear, in him was life, and his life was the light of men, you will know its truth. God is in you, yet you know him not. But when he begins to stir in you, as you will say, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and besides me there is no other. And Neville goes on to teach you again the simple exercise, how to revise your life, how to get what you want. Do you know what you want? I will tell you a simple way to get it. Simply catch the feeling that you have it, and sustain that feeling. But remember, Neville teaches you, don't force it. Keep it light and natural, like a little experiment for fun, but with an earnest heart, and be consistent. He teaches persist in acknowledging the joy of fulfillment. In your imagination, tell your friends your good news. Hear their congratulations. Then allow him who heard your friends and felt your joy of fulfillment to bring it into your world. For he who can do all these things is within you as your own wonderful I amness. Your imagination, your consciousness, that is God. And to further hone this in, Neville gives another exercise. Tonight, when you go to bed, just say, I am. And you can add any condition you want to that. I am. And believe it. Do your best, try, and persist. Speak to your imagination as though you are speaking to the God who created the universe and sustains it, for you are. Isn't that so beautiful? What reverence and respect you can have for that invisible divine beingness that gave this birth of experience of you and this life. And yet you're one. But you just don't realize it yet. But you will, if you haven't already. When you imagine something, ask yourself, who is imagining it? And you will say, I am. That's God's name forever and ever. I am. Imagine and fall asleep imagining. And as Neville has taught with this every night, what another wonderful sacred time, a magical time, as you're drifting off to sleep. These two poignant moments in time, when you wake up and when you go to bed. That state where the conscious mind isn't so strong holding on to the limitations of human reality. These are your sacred times. Nurture and enjoy them. Believe that all things are possible to your own wonderful human I amness. Neville says test yourself. You don't need to get down on your knees and pray to anyone on the outside. There is no need to cross yourself before any icon, for the Lord is your human imagination, your consciousness, your wonderful I amness. Now this is not to say, with what Neville's saying here, if you want to do those things, if it makes you feel good, then do them. But he is teaching you to go past all the things of Caesar's world, to go right to the source, nothing in between, to see your raw, true power when you know who you are. So Neville tells you test yourself and to change things that seem like they can't be changed, but to do it from within. Your I amness is God, He who is the resurrection in you. He is the life of your physical body, the life for the bird in the air and the leaf on the tree. One day you will feel a vibration within you, and you will know that if you arrest it, everything you perceive will die, yet not vanish. It will not decay, but will remain frozen in time and space forever, for it has no life. You, life itself, animate it. Then you will release that vibration, and everything will become animated once more. And Neville says everybody will have these experiences. He doesn't know when, but we each will have it. It is not something we have to wait, tomorrow, next week, next month, and next lifetime. Challenge it now. Neville says, I have experienced Scripture. Take my words and ask yourself to prove them to you now. Then let Him unfold within you. And when He does, this world will lose its value to you. You will wonder what the fighting is all about. Why should anyone fight over shadows? Don't criticize anyone. If those who have $1 billion want to, so that they can be the richest dummy in the grave, pray for them by asking the only being who can grant your prayer, and that being is your own wonderful human imagination. Don't struggle doing it. Ask yourself, who is hearing the good news you just heard, and you will answer, I am. That's God. That's the being who heard the request. Now grant it and let it happen. God heard it when you heard it, because God is your own wonderful I amness. And remember, all that you ask in your Father's name, He will grant you, and your Father's name is I am. Now let us go into the silence. Good.